House will now have before it House Bill 584. Good gentleman from 4.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent that we dispense with reading of the bill.
Unanimous consent has been requested. Is there objection? Hearing none, so ordered. The gentleman has the floor to present the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope we all had fun changing our clocks this last weekend. I'm sure there are some of you whose car clocks have not yet been changed because of the difficulty in doing that. Let me tell you a little bit about standard time and daylight savings time and why I'm bringing this bill to make standard time the norm for us. Daylight savings time was introduced in World War I to conserve resources and brought back in World War II, once again to conserve resources when it was called wartime rather than daylight savings time. That was before the advent of, the widespread advent, I should say, of electricity. Electricity has taken care of most of those problems. There was actually in 1974, daylight savings time was made standard across the country, permanent. But the objections to it were so great because people were being forced to go to work at dark and children were going to school in the dark that it was repealed by Congress the following year. This is how daylight savings time works. You cut a blanket, you take 12 inches off the top of the blanket and you put it on the bottom of the blanket and you make believe you have a longer blanket. That's what daylight savings time does. It doesn't give you a larger blanket. We just think we have more time because we're adjusting our clocks twice a year. Daylight savings time has been opposed by the American Medical Association, the National Safety Council, and the American Academy for Sleep Medicine. It is unhealthy. It causes accidents. It causes heart issues. It causes many, many medical issues. It is ridiculous to move this twice a year to force us to go through this. Now, this bill would take effect only when 2 of our neighboring states implement it as well. So this would not happen for probably another year and a half or 2 years. So I stand for questions and I ask you a green light.
Thank you, gentlemen. For the motion, for debate on the motion. Gentleman 25.
Speaker, to be debate against the bill.
Gentleman has the floor. Debate against the bill.
I agreed with a lot of the good gentleman before's comments, but I would say it's ridiculous to change twice a year as well, but I would say why don't we just go to daylight savings time and stay there? In my working days, well, besides these working days, when it was my career, I got done, as being a principal at 4:30 or so in April and May, and after we went to daylight savings time, I could get to the golf course and play 18 holes of golf, or at least most of 18 holes of golf, because of daylight savings time. It gives those who are working, and I don't agree with his analogy of you taking 11 inches and put it together. But those who are working, it gives them an extra hour of daylight for 6 months of the year, for which they can do outdoor activities during that time and gives them that much more light. Sure, they might go to bed a little later, or they go to bed when they get home, but it does give you more time after work to do the activities, especially outdoor activities, that you want to do. Okay? You can go play golf, you can go for a walk, you can go ride your bike, you can do any of these numerous things, because if you're like Twin Falls, but we're in the mountain time zone, I can play golf in June till 10 o'clock at night. So in other words, I have a lot of time after work to do the activities, the outdoor activities that I want to do. And the exact groups who are usually against such a motion to go to daylight or to go to standard time year-round are typically the leisure activity industries. This is going to take a bite out of their bottom line if this gets enacted. I know that the Senate, the United States Senate, actually passed a bill to move us all to daylight savings time full-time, and I fully agree with that. The House could never agree on it, so it died at the January 1st, this last January 1st, because both bodies did not act on it. But I would fully support a bill if the gentleman from 4 or anyone else would put forth one that puts us on daylight savings time full-time. I'm 100% behind it. I'll speak in favor of it should that bill come. But But this bill, I have to give a red light. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, gentlemen. Further debate on the motion. Gentleman 25.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentlemen
question
like
for
to
the-
debate the bill.
I had a question for the gentleman.
Okay, Huskey, does the gentleman from 4 yield to a question?
Gentlemen will yield.
Gentleman yields.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good gentleman. There's a list of states that are included in any two. Why was Nevada left off, which is an adjoining state, and California included, which is not an adjoining state to Idaho?
Gentleman from 4.
Mr. Speaker, gentleman from 25, there is no move in Nevada to go to this standard time. There's nothing in the legislature in Nevada that would go to the standard time.
Okay, thank you.
Gentleman 25.
Yeah, debate.
Gentleman has the floor to debate the bill.
First of all, I like the idea of daylight savings year-round. I think there's a lot of advantages to that. That's one of the reasons. I probably would have supported this bill if Nevada would have been included and California not, because we just can't go around and pick states that are working their way towards something that we like. We could have picked Colorado or Arkansas, to just pick states at random. And I think picking California as our example that we want to follow here in Idaho is a tough choice when we're looking for two states. When Nevada is only 45 miles from my home, so I'm not going to support the bill.
Thank you, gentlemen. Further debate on the motion. Good lady 34.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, to debate the bill.
Good lady has the floor to debate the bill.
I think it might be helpful for the body to know that as states, we can only opt into standard time year-round without congressional intervention. So I think it might be useful as you're weighing the pros and cons of this legislation to understand that the good gentleman from 4 is going down the pathway that's available for us to act as a state without congressional intervention. Otherwise, to go down the path that these gentlemen have brought up around daylight savings time year-round would require Congress to take action. I don't know about you, but my confidence in the ability of Congress to take action on a whole lot of things is a little low at the moment. And so from that standpoint, I would say the good gentleman from 4 has taken the practical route for securing our ability to not change our clocks twice a year. And I would, suggest that that would be something to be thinking about as you're weighing this. I don't necessarily think it's about standard being better or daylight saving time being better, but what's the avenue that's available to us as a state?
And good ladies, further debate on the motion. Good lady 33.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, to debate the motion.
Good lady has the floor to debate the motion.
I appreciate that, Mr. Speaker. Friends, those of you who've been here for a while know I stand on this issue every time because I love daylight savings time. I do not want to get rid of it. And I'd just like to use a little Lincoln Douglas logic to refute some of the things that have been said over the years about daylight savings time, if I could. First off, as a general rule, and I think it's been pointed out, but we kind of run on an 8 a.m., 9 a.m. time period. Get off work at 5. In the summertime, a lot of us have businesses and Little League and soccer that we go to, that our kids go to, that we don't always have light. So, by gosh, if it's going to get dark at 8, we're done with those leagues. And if you're in Idaho Falls, those leagues run and run and run and run and run. Now, just as far as the application with kids and going in the dark, there was a time that was important. There was a time kids used to go to school at like 7:30 to 8. Now we have a lot of kids that aren't even in school till 8:30 or 9 because of their sleep habits and the way the clock runs or whatever. So I don't even think that argument is as applicable as it used to be. Another one that is certainly interesting is this claims that nationally they keep making about accidents and heart. Okay, let's just think about that logically. Is that based on the fact that they're sleeping? That they lose an hour of sleep? Because if that be the case, that would purport to say that we all get exactly 8 hours of sleep a day. Nobody ever stays up late to get anything done. Nobody ever travels. Because think about it, if you're flying on an airplane flight and you go to a different time zone, you lost your sleep also. So nobody's going to fly anymore because we might lose an hour of sleep. That's what this is saying. And when those who purport to say that it causes heart problems, it's just absolutely silly. Also, when it comes to setting our clocks back, if you think about it, nobody in here must ever lose their electricity, and it must not go off. I have to set my clock back. I shouldn't say a lot because Idaho Falls Power does a good job, but I have to set my clock because the electricity goes out. So how many of us are going to do? My dad even had that old wind-up clock. I mean, these arguments are so easily refutable. I do not want to go back. If we want to keep daylight savings time all the time, I absolutely will keep that. But by gosh, vote to keep kids playing Little League, soccer, and all those summer things, and even walks at 10 a.m. at night where it's still light. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Further debate on the motion. Good, gentleman, 26.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, to lightly debate the bill.
I thought that was pretty light. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good body, as we all approach our busy upcoming primary and general election seasons, let's just remember that it's nice to be able to knock doors later into the evening, and I don't like to particularly knock doors at night. I think that once it's generally the sun is down, it's nice to leave people alone so they can watch some Netflix, maybe watch maybe some Jeopardy that they might have recorded earlier in the afternoon. But as long as it's light out, I generally feel pretty comfortable knocking doors. And I think if we're going to be cutting ourselves short, we should contemplate that.
Thank you, gentlemen. Further debate on the motion. Gentleman, 35.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To debate the motion.
Gentleman has the floor to debate the motion.
So I may be one of the few people that has lived in a state that is on standard time with no change, and let me tell you, they have the same amount of time in the day as we do. I know it's surprising, but if you want more time in the evening after work, you go to work earlier. It's not that complicated. The example of the blanket is so true. You can't take a foot off and put it on the bottom and it's longer. Just if you want time one way or another, if you want more morning, do it that way. If you want more evening, do it that way. You just adjust your day and you don't need the government to set the hour differently. And this is a great bill, and I would ask for your green light. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Further debate on the motion. Hearing none. Would the good gentleman for care to close the debate?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I would. It's nice to have some lighthearted debate on a topic that's passionate for some, but still we're not at each other's throats, which I think is a great thing every once in a while. Just to thank the lady from, I guess it's 30, is it 34? It is true that we would need an act of Congress to go to daylight savings time, which some of us may prefer. And once again, the chances of Congress doing something are probably slim and none. As far as the number of states that were chosen, the types of states that were chosen, the 6 states that were chosen because they currently have legislation in process to move to standard time. So we were not selectively picking states, but using the states that actually had bills in their legislatures. As far as the health effects of it's not rumor, folks. It's true. The American Medical Association and the Academy of Sleep Studies have shown statistical evidence that there is a problem in moving our rhythms, which is what we're doing. We're trying to adjust our body rhythms twice a year, and that is what is leading to health issues. And based on those measures, I would ask for your green light on this. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Debate is closed. Question is, shall House Bill 584 pass the House? Clerk will unlock the machine. Members will cast their votes. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change your vote? Clerk will lock the machine and record the roll. 43 ayes, 26 nays, 1 absent and excused. Majority haven't voted in favor of House Bill 584. House Bill 584 has passed the House. Is there correction titled?
No correction to title.
Hearing none, the title is approved and the bill will be transmitted to Senate.